For the best atmosphere, use headphones. Hey dumbass, mind letting me copy your homework? No problem. Sweet, let me take a pic of it then. I pulled my notebooks out of my bag and obligingly flipped through the pages for Chad, my classmate. It wasn't because we were friends. No, the reason was simpler. One time, I wasn't in the mood and refused him. The next thing I knew, I was scrubbing blood off my face in the college restroom while my notebooks lay shredded in a trash bin. I learned quickly that it was better not to refuse Chad. Personally, I made it a point to avoid him. Everyone was scared of this maniac. Even the teachers couldn't do much about him. I still didn't understand why people feared him or wanted to be his friend, but that had nothing to do with me. Honestly, I would have loved to get to know his girlfriend better. As you'd expect, Chad was dating the most beautiful girl in school, Sophia. Her beauty was utterly mesmerizing, the kind you could gaze at endlessly. Jet black hair, arched eyebrows, pale alabaster skin with just a hint of blush. But what captivated me most were her endlessly deep green eyes. Sophia. We had been in love with Sophia since we were kids. Our families used to be friends, but then our moms had a falling out, and Sophia found new, cooler friends. She began avoiding me, not wanting to be seen with me. When she started dating Chad, that was it. Our interactions dwindled to little more than subtle nods in passing. I practically lived on her social media page, spending hours admiring her and dreaming of the day she might finally see me for who I was and fall in love with me. Lost in thought, I smiled to myself, unwittingly drawing unwanted attention. "Hey clown, what are you grinning at?" Chad's voice barked from the side. I quickened my pace, pretending I hadn't heard him. "Hey, I'm talking to you." Realizing he wouldn't let it go, I turned my head and asked, "Are you talking to me?" My harmless question made his fists clench. "Who else, idiot?" he snapped, grabbing me by the collar. "No, I just, he mocked, mimicking me. My insides tightened. It felt like we were alone in the entire college. The hallway was eerily silent, as though classes had already begun and everyone was in their rooms. But that wasn't the case. A crowd had gathered around us, including Chad's gang of bullies. They were watching, eager for a spectacle. "Teach him a lesson, Chad," one of the bullies jeered. "Yeah, he's already pissing his pants," added another jerk. "Enough!" a girl's voice rang out, and Chad let go of me. "What's going on here?" Sophia demanded. "Babe, we're just talking." Ugh, how I hated it when this ape called her that. "I see how you're talking." This gnome so short I had to pick him up just to hear him. Bingo. Dumbass clown gnome. Chad's limited vocabulary always made Chad Bingo easy to win. "Chad, apologize to Ethan," Sophia interrupted coldly. All right, maybe I overdid it. Who hasn't? Let's go, babe." Chad tried to brush it off, only to be interrupted by Sophia again. "We're not going anywhere until you apologize." Her voice remained calm. The crowd stared at us with wide eyes, waiting to see how this would play out. There were murmurs, and some were even snickering. Chad laughed awkwardly, searching for support from his friends. When he realized none was coming, he mumbled, "Soph." Before he could finish, Sophia turned and walked away without a word that said everything. She had saved me, like a guardian angel, but also signed my death warrant. Chad's face was red with fury, so close to mine I could see the veins pulsing in his neck. His angry, bloodthirsty eyes trembled. Grinding his teeth, he smirked vilely before following after Sophia. "See you around," he sneered. I went outside, and 10 minutes later was home. Waiting for me was my best friend, Oliver, my dog. I took him for a walk in the park, feeling as though I was floating. I wasn't walking, I was flying. Sophia stood up for me, which meant she cared. She worried about me. The autumn chill invigorated me, and soon I managed to forget how close I'd come to getting punched. Oliver and I reached the local lake and decided to rest. I sat on a cold bench, gazing at the dark, still water. Hard to believe people were swimming here just a month and a half ago. My thoughts were interrupted when a large Rottweiler appeared beside me. Oliver barked and lunged at the dog, but quickly cowered and hid behind me, trembling. The former kitten ran towards me. "Ethan?" A familiar voice called from a distance. "Sophia." It felt like we were the only two people in the park. "Hi, Sophia." I was thrilled to see her. "Hey, didn't know you were a dog lover too," she said, her eyes on my dog as she tried to coax him over. "Yeah, I thought it'd be nice to walk Oliver in this weather," I replied, glancing at my dog. I hoped he'd run to her and be the first to experience her embrace. Instead, he stayed put, still trembling and eyeing her warily. Oliver seemed on edge, almost as if Sophia or her Rottweiler scared him. "Well, we're out too. Mind if we join you?" "Of course. Yes, absolutely." I practically jumped, making Sophia laugh. We sat by the lake as golden leaves fell around us. I hadn't realized how romantic this park could be. Her dog, meanwhile, was circling around us. Sophia threw him the ball and he immediately rushed after it, while Oliver still didn't take his eyes off Sophia. "Sorry about Chad, he's not really the sharpest tool in the box." "It's funny that such an idiot could have a girl like you," I said without thinking. Sophia raised her eyebrows and stared at me. Damn, Sophia, that's not what I meant." "It's fine. I've always wondered the same thing, and just today, after class, I dumped him." Hearing that, I felt both joy and dread at the same time. Now I definitely wouldn't be able to leave the house. "Why did you dump him?" "Not just because of your quarrels. I just realized he's the same as everyone else. They just want to use me because of my looks." "What do you mean?" I wanted to understand her feelings better. "It's always the same. No one even tried to get to know the real me. Sorry for unloading all this on you." Tears started to appear in her eyes. She looked so vulnerable. I wanted to comfort her. "Sophie, don't cry. I know the real you. You have a kind heart and a noble character. You're beautiful, not just on the outside, but on the inside too." Sophia looked at me and asked just one question. "Is that true?" "Yes, it's true." A barely noticeable smile appeared on her face. She looked into my eyes as if I were the first person who had ever said that to her. "It's like, I can't even believe it, but your words, thank you, Ethan. That's why I love you so much. Be engaged and be consistent." Sophia looked at me again and reached out, clearly about to kiss me. I froze. Surely this was all a dream and I'd wake up in chemistry class with Mr. Walter White. There was a bark, and Oliver, sitting next to me, stood between me and Sophia. He kept barking at Sophia. He is protecting me from Sophia. The last time I saw him like this was when we ran into Chad during one of our walks, and Chad tried to take my money, but Oliver scared him away. This is all so strange, but it's Sophia, my first love, who was just about to kiss me, and you, my best friend, messed it all up. "He's jealous, huh?" Sophia laughed, covering her smile with her hand. "It's getting late. Let's try again a little later. I'll text you where and when, okay?" "I'd love to." "Yes, of course, any time," I shouted, making Sophia laugh again. "I'm glad to hear that, Ethan." Sophia flirtatiously finished the conversation, and along with her Rottweiler, headed toward the park exit. I pinched myself to make sure I wasn't dreaming. Oliver calmed down once Sophia left, but still kept glancing in the direction she went. I still can't figure out what made him so uneasy, but I didn't care anymore. My thoughts were consumed only by Sophia and fantasies about a future with her. Oliver and I managed to get home before it got dark, and as soon as I closed the door, I heard the long-awaited sound of a new message and quickly grabbed my phone. I started reading aloud to Oliver, swaying back and forth. "Tomorrow at 9 p.m. on the address. Luckily, tomorrow is Saturday. so I won't run into Chad. After meeting him, I'm sure I won't just have some bruises." Oliver whimpered. "What's with you? Are you really jealous that I won't be able to hang out with you as much if I'm with Sophia?" I went to sleep. The next day flew by at the speed of light, waiting for 9 p.m. I got to the meeting place, and it definitely wasn't the place from my imagination. In front of me was an abandoned factory. From the scattered parts of doll toys around, I think this is a doll factory. The address in the message matches the plaque on the half-destroyed wall of the building. This is all very suspicious. Should I lie to Sophia, say I'm feeling sick, and suggest we meet on Sunday at a place I'll propose? I kept observing the building from a distance and noticed signs of Sophia's presence. A pink arrow drawn with chalk. Is she already waiting for me inside? I wish I had her courage, sitting alone inside an abandoned factory, especially one that makes doll toys. Locking arms with my girlfriend, I stroked her back, putting hands over her head, whispering words of comfort or assurances. I gathered all the courage I had and pulled on the rusty metal door. It was dark inside, so I had to turn on the flashlight on my phone. I noticed a path of multicolored confetti under my feet, leading further into the factory. I decided to loudly call out Sophia's name and immediately heard her voice. "Ethan, come here quickly," came from the direction where the confetti path led. Hearing her voice, I relaxed. Now I was sure I wasn't alone here. I made my way toward her, and the further I went, the stronger the strange and sharp smell hit my nose. It reminded me of the smell of fresh meat. A second smell appeared. No, it was a stench that made my eyes sting. I'd never smelled anything so nauseating before. I found out that the stench was coming from a door with a broken heart drawn on it in the same chalk. That was enough for me to realize it was time to get out of there, and fast. I turned around to rush back, but the light from my flashlight illuminated something. I looked at a shriveled body, almost to the bone, with no clothes on. The skin was gray with a dark brown tint. I couldn't tear my eyes away from its head. The head looked like a doll's head. It was because of the shine of the plastic. My flashlight reflected off the plastic head. Where the soulless eyes should have been, there were only two black hollows. In the creature's hands was a dog's corpse, with bites on its belly and severed legs. Oh God, I recognized that collar. It was Sophia's Rottweiler. My body is trembling. I can barely hold back the urge to vomit. My legs instinctively start to step backward, away from this monster. "Where are you going?" Sophia's voice came from the direction where the creature stood. "Sophia? I'm so glad you came. By the way, I left some food for you. I remember you love dogs too." She extended the lifeless body of the dog to me, the same dog I had petted on the head just yesterday. Her face stretched into a smile, revealing sharp, crooked teeth. She started getting closer. "Don't come any closer!" I shouted with such force that my ears started ringing. "What are you saying? I'm beautiful not only on the outside but also on the inside. Those were your words." With those words, her smile shifted into sadness. She let go of the dog, and the squelching sound echoed through the factory walls. Sophia covered her face with her hands. "You're just like everyone else. You only want my shell, and I was a fool. I believed you were different. I believed you were telling the truth, but you lied to me." After these words, Sophia charged at me, swinging her long kitchen knife-like claws. I acted quickly and shoved the boxes full of dolls. They crashed down onto Sophia, pinning her to the floor. My legs ran as fast as they could. A piercing scream and the crashing of boxes came from behind. I realized I wouldn't make it out through the main entrance, so I decided to hide in the room marked with a broken heart. I ran into the room, and once again, the smell, that stench. I started looking around for the source of the foul odor and froze in horror. On the table lay Chad's lifeless body. His mouth was sewn shut, and his arms were amputated. Chad had fallen into her trap, and now, right behind him, It was my turn. He won't hurt anyone anymore with his insults and beatings. You too, Ethan, won't lie to anyone anymore. Smash that like button if you got scared, and leave a comment telling us which moment gave you chills. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're not afraid. Choose one of the 2 videos on the screen to test your nerves. Boo!